Baseball is back, baby. Today is opening day, and for that, I wanted to do a fun little video. I asked 6 Mariners content creators to do some predictions for 2024. However, this predictions video is going to be a bit different. Normally, you would predict how many wins are the Mariners going to have in 2024, or you may predict who's going to end up being the best pitcher. I wanted to go a bit of out of the box on that. Now, there are some normal questions. However, there are a few that I think are a bit more fun, a bit more of thinkers. But before we get into that, I also want to point out that in the description, you are going to find a Google Forms link because I want you, the viewers, to be able to do these predictions as well. And we're going to make it into a competition, and there is a prize. There will be points assigned to these predictions, and whoever ends up winning at the end of the season, you are going to receive 2 tickets to any Major League Baseball game in 2025 on me. Right now, you can see the terms of the 2024 Seasons Prediction Challenge on your screen. The terms will also be in the description of this video. In my opinion, I think going to the ballpark is one of the best experiences in the world, so I want to share that. But with that said, let's get into the creators' predictions for 2024. Number 1 out of 10, will the Seattle Mariners make the postseason in 2024?
Yes, they will. I've got them winning the West, and I absolutely think they will make the postseason. I've mentioned that when I was on with Locked On Mariners with Ty, and I did want to clarify, I don't think it's going to be easy. It's gonna be a battle. The AL's loaded, the division is loaded, but I do believe the Mariners will be in the playoffs in 2024.
I think so. I think that they are going to hit 90 wins. So that means that they would most likely make the playoffs and make a run at the division. The division's tough, so I can't imagine them not making the playoffs, though. I think that, we're going to be better than either Houston or Texas, although it's going to be a tight race there.
I don't know if I am going to say they're going to win the division, but I think they're certainly one of the 6 best teams in the American League. I'm going to go first wild card.
Yes, absolutely. No doubt in my mind the Mariners are postseason bound this year.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think the Mariners are basically as close to a lock to the playoffs as you can get. Last year they missed, but it was barely, and I don't think that anybody can make an argument that they got any worse. If anything, the division around them got substantially worse.
I'm going to say yes, and I think it's going to be with 92 wins.
Which Mariners hitter will hit the most home runs in 2024?
Gotta go with Julio, right? If he's going to push for the MVP this year, he's going to have to do something pretty special that gets national attention, that gets the attention of people on the East Coast. I'm going to say that he's going to go 40-40 this year. 40 steals, 40 homers.
This was a toss-up. I think it's going to be between Cal or Julio. Based on how I'm going to the season, I think it's going to be Julio because I think he's going to have an even better year than he's had in the past 2.
So the Mariners don't really have one of those big boppers like Matt Olson, Pete Alonso, or Christian Walker. They have guys like Julio and Mitch Garver and Cal that are going to give you that massive pop when you need it. I think that Julio is just going to have a monster year.
It's going to be a cop-out answer, but Julio is my pick for AL MVP. And I he's the most logical pick. Sleeper picks, I would say Cal, and then really sleeper pick, a big Mitch Haniger bounce back, but I will go with Julio.
I'm going to go Julio here. It's going to be a trendy pick. I'm not going to go against the trends here. I think Julio leads the Mariners in home runs, and I'd like to see him touch that 40 mark. It'd be awesome if he can have a 40-40 season. I'd love. I like the Julio pick for leading home runs.
I've been toying with this one, Jake. Part of me wants to go with Mitchell Evan Haniger, but I'm not going to say that. So I'm going to go with Julio Rodriguez. I mean, what choice do I have? You know what I mean? The only other option is Mitch Garver. And
Who will play the most total innings this season, Luke Raley or Dominic Canzone?
I actually think that Luke Raley is probably going to have more at-bats and more innings. And so I'm going to go Luke Raley here. I really do think Luke Raley is one of the more steady players. Again, not a sexy player. He's not going to do have a ton of flash to his game, but I think Luke Raley is going to be that steady Eddie that we just have all throughout the season. He stays healthy and is able to give us a lot of innings there. So I like Luke Raley to have more innings than Canzone.
Dominic Canzone, no doubt in my mind. Dominic Canzone is your starting left fielder in the playoffs in 2024.
So Rayleigh has an advantage going into the year because he's already got that major league experience. He's had success. But I think that Canzone is going to get in, whether it's an injury, whether it's platooning with Haniger. And you heard it from Aaron Goldsmith himself. If Canzone has a massive year this year, he's not going to be surprised. And I don't think we will be either.
My first initial reaction would be Luke Rayleigh, but I think deep down I want Dom Canzone to play more because I think he can be an everyday player. So I'm going to go Dom.
Like, I think Rayleigh's going to get every opportunity with the trade, but they traded Paul Sewald for Canzone, so it's not like they didn't give up. Canzone feels like the easy answer because he killed it in spring. I will say Luke Rayleigh, though. I think he will initially get the most at bats, and I still think Rayleigh's gonna have a good season, so I'll go with Luke Rayleigh.
Man, that's tough. I'm gonna go with what I feel is the safer bet in Luke Rayleigh, but man, that could go either way. Canzone's kind of the hotter hitter right now, but will that translate to the regular season? Will Rayleigh's struggles translate to the regular season? Obviously, that's compounded by the fact that he wasn't particularly good in the second half either. So maybe that's a trend. I'm gonna go Rayleigh, but I could see that going either way.
How many walk-off hits will the Mariners hit in 2024? You get a bonus point for each player you guess correctly, but you can only guess the same quantity of players to the quantity of walk-offs you predict.
I'm going to go with 7. JP has 2 of them. Polanco has 1. Julio and Cal each have 1. I'm going to go with a sneaky Dylan Moore has 1. Mitch Haniger has 1. It's only fitting.
I will go with 7 walk-off wins. Ty France is going to have 1. Julio is due for a walk-off. I don't think he's had one. I think the closest was that home run off Kenley Jansen 2 years ago. Mitch Haniger is going to get 1 for sure. Got to give 1 to the dumper. Cal's going to get 1. Luis Urias is going to get like a sneaky 1. It's going to be like this little dribbler that's just going to get through on the right side that'll win a game for the Mariners. I'll go with Dom Canzone's going to have 1. And then deep sleeper, Zebby Zavala. Zebby Zavala gets a walk-off hit. Cal gets pinch run for an extra innings. Zavala gets the at-bat in like the 13th inning and gets a walk-off.
I'm going to go with 6. Dominic Canzone, number 1. Josh Rojas. Julio is finally going to have 1, number 3. JP. Dominic Canzone again. Does that count? If he gets 2, do I get 2
multiple?
points?
You can have multiple, yeah.
2 Dominic Canzones. And the last one, are you ready for this? Ryan Bliss.
I'm going to go with 4 walk-offs. And not a ton here, but I do think we're going to have more than 2023. I'm going to say Cal gets 1. I'm thinking that Cal might have that late season push to the playoffs, walk-off, kind of like he did in 2021. Julio, it feels like Julio is due for a walk-off here. I'm going to go Mitch Garver with one of the walk-offs. I think he's going to have 1. I'm going to even give you the specific team. I think he's going to have 1 against his former team. And so he's going to have 1 against the Rangers, which would be really, really cool. So I'll give that a little specific. And then Polanco. I like the new guys on the block. So Garver and Polanco with a walk-off.
I'm going to say 7 walk-offs. 2 Julios, Homer, and then like a double down the line or something like that. I'll go 3 JPs. Dom Canzone, walk-off. You know what? Screw it. Walk-off grand slam. Dom Canzone. Why not? Let's get weird with it. Let me pick someone random as hell. Like someone that's not even on the roster right now, like Cade Marlowe.
I'm going to guess 5 walk-off hits in 2024 for the Mariners. I think that JP Crawford is going to get 2. Mitch Garver is going to get 1. Cal Raleigh is going to get a 4th. Josh Rojas.
Which Mariners hitter will have the most RBIs in 2024?
I'm going to go Polanco. He's hitting in the 3-hole. He was crushing it in spring. He hits for some decent power, and I think he's going to knock a lot of guys in.
I mean, it's hard to argue with it being Mitch Garver. Batting probably in the 4 spot, so I'm going to go with Mitch Garver with the 3 guys ahead of him getting on base a lot. I think dark horse there is Jorge Polanco, just randomly, but I'm going to go with Mitch Garver.
Julio without a doubt.
Cop-out answer again. I feel like with Julio, I think he'll have over 100, and especially with Polanco now in this lineup, I think he's got more protection now with Garver and everything too.
Part of me wants to go Garver, but I just don't know if he's going to play enough games. So I'm going to go Julio. It's boring. I know. I'm sorry, but I'm going to go Julio.
I actually accidentally asked Trident True this question. He said in DMs, Julio. How many Mariners home runs will land in a bullpen this year? This is not restricted to only the T-Mobile bullpen.
37. Paul Sewald.
Okay, I'm going to lock in 29.
That's so specific.
Yeah.
73.
Okay.
I had two numbers that came to my head when I first heard this question, so I'm gonna go with the lower one. I'm gonna go 18.
I'm gonna say 53. I have no idea. That could be like the worst guess ever.
I'm gonna go with 21 home runs in a bullpen. There is no data to back this up, so I'm not gonna pretend like I came with a metric to prepare for that.
Which Mariners pitcher, starter, or reliever will have the lowest ERA, minimum of 40 innings pitched?
I'm gonna go Gabe Spire.
I'm going to go with George Kirby. I think that he's going to just pitch a whole lot of innings this year. Everybody knows George Kirby at this point, but I think 2024 is his year to really show that he's arrived, and he could be an ace on almost any staff in the major leagues, but really a top 3 starter for the Mariners, and even top 1 or 2 that we'd confidently go out there with.
I'll go with George Kirby.
I'm going to go with a new face, Gregory Santos. I think that he comes off that injury. He's going to get the innings.
I think this might be a sneaky take again, because I feel like a lot of people are kind of overlooking him, but I think I'm going to go Castillo, because I think a lot of people are under the impression that, like, you know, Kirby's going to walk into that ace role, but I think Castillo kind of knows where he's at right now, and I don't think he's going to underperform by any means. So I kind of have him sitting anywhere from 2 to 2.5, probably the lower end of 2.
I am going to go with Matt Brash. I think that Matt Brash is going to have a big year. I think it's going to be even better than last year. He might not throw 70-something games like he did in 2023, but I think Matt Brash is the guy who's just going to burst onto the scene this year.
Which Mariners pitcher, starter, or reliever will have the lowest FIP?
Matt Brash. I just think that the combination with the strikeouts and everything, I mean, even last year when his ERA was like in the 5s, his FIP was still like 2. So I'll go with Matt Brash, assuming back healthy and everything, hopefully, but I'll go Brash.
George Kirby. Enough said.
I'm going to say George Kirby, because if it's walks and strikeouts, he's obviously going to have the minimal amount of walks, and I think he's not going to give up as many home runs, because I know Castillo kind of had that problem last year and kind of has had it.
Brash. He gets so unlucky. It's crazy.
This was a tough one. I'm gonna go with George Kirby, which is probably not the sexy pick, but I mean, I think George is gonna win the Cy Young this year. So, you know what? No, I take it back. Jacob, I take it back. It's Logan Gilbert, because he's gonna win the Cy Young this year.
FIP is a fun one. And I think that because we set the limit at 40 innings here, it's going to be a bullpen guy. Matt Brash is a trendy pick here, I'm guessing. I'm going to go with Andres Munoz. I think that his FIP is going to be the lowest. He is just a strikeout guy. I'm excited for our bullpen to have even more firepower and even more velocity, which is crazy to say because it feels like we're part of the flamethrower crew anyway.
How many double-digit strikeout games will be thrown by a Mariners starting pitcher this year?
As I can count, we had 9 times last year where we had over 10 strikeouts for a starter. Luis Castillo accounted for 3 of those. And so I'm going to go with the over. And so I'm actually going to select 11 times we go over or we have over 10 strikeouts. Logan Gilbert is going to be one of those guys that pitches deeper into games this year and has a lot more swing and misses here at the plate, with the addition of a couple of pitches that he has in his repertoire.
I'll say 12.
Might be a little low ball, but I'm going to go with 13.
This was one I was toying with. I think it'll be 16. And you ask why 16? And my answer, I don't know.
I'll say 17. Like, I think Gilbert's going to get a handful. Castillo will. I think Kirby will dial up 1 or 2 of them. And then I think Wu or Miller will sneak 1 in there. So that 17 might be high, but this is a great pitching staff. So
I think Logan's going to strike out a ton of guys this year. Luis, obviously. I think Bryce is going to get a lot of strikeouts. I'm going to go 13.
Will a Mariners pitcher throw either a no-hitter or perfect game in 2024?
I feel like it's bound to happen. Like, if it's going to happen with anyone, it has to be one of these 5 or 6. Like, I feel like this is the season where it hasn't happened in a long time. I feel like this is kind of the season where it's going to happen.
Yes, George Kirby.
Nice.
And he's going to do it in Toronto in a couple of weeks with me in attendance.
Yes, I'm going to say yes. I hope so. I really do.
I'm going to go with yes. I think that we see
wow.
one this
Nice.
year. I know that it's probably like a plus category if you're a betting guy, but I am going to go with yes. I think we see a no-hitter or a perfect game. This starting rotation is just that good. And I'll even give you extra credit here. I think Logan Gilbert has a no-hitter or a perfect game this year. I think that it's one of those years where George Kirby is the exciting guy. Luis Castillo is the front man. And he's one of those underrated pitcher types where if he is in the middle of a series where he pitches the second game, I think that he really is like one of those guys that people aren't going to be ready for.
You know what? To be the eternal optimist, yes. We will get a perfect game this year from a Mariner, and it's going to be Logan Gilbert. I think he had the only complete game last year. Kirby might have had a couple complete games as well, but I'm going to go with Logan Gilbert, and it will be a perfect game. It will be against the Tigers in T-Mobile, and it will be amazing.
Why not? Why not? And it's my Cy Young Award winner, and it is Logan Gilbert. Yes, there will be a no-hitter thrown by Logan Gilbert. Not a perfect game, because those are very, very hard to do, and Felix threw the last real one. All right, Domingo Germán, we don't count you. You're a bad person, and you were against the Oakland A's. Felix threw the last real perfect game, and it will live on forever.
And that's going to be it for this video. I appreciate it so much if you watched. You can like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It's free. It helps me out a lot. Once again, the Google Forms is in the description. You must be over 18, have a Twitter, and verified Gmail. And it's a max of $50. That's going to be it for me in this one, and I will see you in the next one. As always, go M's.